Hi class, this video will be section 7.1 homework. This is simplifying rational expressions. The first part of this lesson, I taught you about finding the domain of a rational expression. The domain are all possible values of the x. The easiest way to find the domain is to figure out the numbers that can't be the domain, because for the most part, any real number can be substituted for x and it would produce another real number. The only time it would not produce a number is if the denominator was equal to 0. And so that's how I taught you in class, and that's how I want to show you to work these two problems now. Each of these will start the answer with all real numbers, but now we need to check to see if there's one or two numbers that make the denominator have a value of 0. The easiest way to do that is to set the denominator equal to 0. So x squared plus 4 equals 0. This is not a difference of square, so we can't factor it. We could solve for x by subtracting 4, but the next step would be to take the square root of both sides, which you can't take a square root of a negative number. So what that means is that there's no x value that could possibly make this denominator equal 0. And so for this question, the answer is all real numbers. Okay, take a look at the second one. We'll do the same thing. We will assume that the answer is all real numbers, and then look for values that could make the denominator equal 0. X squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. This can be factored to x minus 2 times x plus 1 equals 0. Now if we set those individual factors equal to 0, that's the zero factor property. If you add 2 to both sides, x is 2 and x is negative 1. What that means is when x is a positive 2 or a negative 1, the entire denominator would have a value of 0. And so your answer would start off with all real numbers. Then we would write a statement x cannot equal 2 and x cannot equal negative 1. Okay, next question says simplify the rational expression. The very first thing I want you to do is to factor. I want you to factor the numerator and factor the denominator as much as possible. The numerator factors to 5x times x minus 3. The denominator is x minus 3 quantity squared. Just write x minus 3 out twice. Now you can see all the factors and cross out the factors they have in common. The numerator and denominator both have x minus 3, so those can cancel. And that leaves the final answer to be 5x over x minus 3. Because the x minus 3, okay, let's try that again. The first thing I want you to do is factor. Take a look at the numerator. At first you may see that there's only an x in common. To get x times 7 minus x over x minus 7 times x minus 7. Do you see how the numerator has the factor 7 minus x, but the denominator has the factor x minus 7? Those are not the same factors because one has a positive 7, the other has a negative 7, and then the same with the x values. One is negative, one is positive. So anytime you see a factor that appears to be backwards, and I'm calling the 7 minus x the backwards one, the easiest thing to do is to factor out a negative 1 and put the terms in descending order, which means variables first and then constants. And that's something that can easily be missed. That's why I wanted to show you this problem. So the better way to factor the numerator is to pull out a negative x. When you pull out a negative x, that would create a positive x and a negative 7, and I'm going to switch the order from the original problem to get x minus 7. Now when I have the denominator, it's easier to see which terms I can cross out. Now we can cross out the common term of x minus 7 to get a final answer of negative x over x minus 7. Okay, let's do another one. We'll simplify this rational expression by factoring first. The numerator factors to x plus 5 times x minus 4 over x minus 4 times x minus 4. We'll cross out the common factors x minus 4, and that leaves a final answer of x plus 5 over x minus 4, and you can drop the parentheses from the numerator and denominator, and that's your final answer. Okay, I want to show you one more on this video. We're going to start this problem the same way we've started the other ones, by factoring. The numerator has a common term of 9, so this is 9 times x plus 2y over the denominator will be x minus 3y times x plus 2y. And now that this problem is in the factored form, you can see that they both share the factors x plus 2y. which leaves a final answer of 9 over x minus 3y, and that's your final answer. Okay, that's all for this video. Please let me know if you have any questions on this homework assignment.